Hi everyone, welcome to Bulletproof Women. I'm your host Gwen. Before I begin, I'd like to sincerely apologize for this extremely late episode post. Since November last year until very recently, I've had absolutely no time to sit in my tiny little makeshift recording studio and find a few hours to record, upload, and edit all the content. I have two small kids who take up all of my time, an event planning business, and up until very recently, I had a full-time job as well. So my hands were more than full. And unfortunately, my precious little podcast did take a back seat for the past few months. Then, unfortunately, for us all, we are living through the worst pandemic breakout since the Spanish flu in 1919. 100 years later, another flu virus, the COVID-19, is now crippling our countries, economies, jobs, families, and our lives. I was recently one among the million people to lose their employment in Canada due to the havoc this coronavirus has wreaked on everyone. So there is no time like the present to begin sharing some positivity out there, to remind everyone that no matter what, we are strong and we can get through this if we all do our part. Now that I have some time on my hands, from here on I will try to be more regular in posting episodes. I've got some amazing women that I'd love to interview and get their stories out to you. But for now, we'll get back to episode 3. Why English? Have you heard of the butterfly effect? Not the movie or the song, but the actual theory. Wikipedia has a short paragraph of long words. In essence, the butterfly effect explains that small actions today can have a phenomenal effect tomorrow. What if you knew what effect a small decision you made today would have 25 years from now? How many times in our lives have we made decisions based on social norms, society's pressure, or simply because it was convenient? What we may wonder are the final outcomes of those decisions in a few decades from today. Do any of us think about this? I know I don't as often as I should. Today, I'd like to dedicate this episode to a wonderful woman in my life as a tribute to all her struggles and extraordinary life experiences. This story is an excellent example of how the seemingly small decision she made was still so difficult, and yet had an amazing butterfly effect for her future generations. This is the story told by my very own mother-in-law, Nena. Nena came into my life as my mother-in-law in 2010 when I got married to my wonderful husband, her son, Hiten. But she was a strong support for me for many years before that, when her son and I started dating. We come from completely different cultures, religions, and basic upbringing. We even speak completely different languages. Yet, Nena welcomed me to her family with open arms and deepest affection. She is an extraordinary example of the capacity of love and strength that a woman has as a mother. Even with our patchy communication, Nena has shared so many mind-blowing experiences that she's had to endure in her younger years. But the one that stuck with me the most is what I have asked her to share with everyone today. She will be relating her story to us in Hindi, but with a little help, I've been able to accurately translate her words for us today. So without any further delay, here is a true life experience of Nena. हेलो मम्मी, पहली बात थैंक यू मेरे लिए ये इंटरव्यू कर रही है, तो थैंक यू. तो पहले चीज आप बताओ, अब ये बारे में सबको बताने के लिए क्यों अग्री किया ये एक्सपीरियंस पर?
क्योंकि लाइफ में पढ़ाई ही सब कुछ है, जो हमारे पास नहीं है उसके लिए हमें बहुत गिल्टी फील हो रहा है। आज मेरे बच्चे आगे हैं, वो सोच के मुझे ज्यादा खुशी मिल रही है। इसलिए सबको बताना चाहिए कि खुद का निर्णय खुद करो और सही निर्णय करो, दूसरे की मत सुनो।
I begin by thanking my mother-in-law for taking the time to record this episode for me. And my first question to her was, why did she agree to tell this story to everyone today? Why this story? Of course, I insisted on it, but why did she agree to it? Because in life, education is everything. That's one thing I didn't complete, and I feel guilty about this till today. Knowing that at least my children are ahead in life gives me a measure of peace and happiness. That's why I want to tell others. Take responsibility to make your own decisions in life and make good decisions, but don't listen to others who don't support you. Growing up in a suburb of Mumbai in India, Nana is the eldest of 4 children in her family, with 2 younger brothers and 1 younger sister. At an early age, she understood the discrimination that society handed her on a silver platter just for being a girl.
हाँ, मैं बम्बई से हूँ। मैं मलाड में रहती थी मेरे मम्मी पापा के साथ। हम 4 भाई बहन हैं, 2 बहनें 2 भाई। मैं सबसे बड़ी हूँ, मेरे छोटी मेरी बहन है, उससे बाद मेरे छोटे 2 भाई थे। और मैं गुजराती मीडियम से एसएससी पढ़ी है। मेरी बहन भी गुजराती मीडियम से एसएससी पढ़ी है। हम लोग गुजराती मीडियम में पढ़े। मेरे 2 भाई इंग्लिश मीडियम में पढ़े।
I'm from Mumbai. I used to live in the suburb of Malad with my mom and dad, my 2 younger brothers, and my younger sister. I was the eldest, and when we were younger, my brother, sister, and I studied in the Gujarati medium until the 10th grade only. In India, the 10th grade is referred to as the SSC year, which stands for the Secondary School Certificate year.
जब भी मेरे पापा मेरे सबसे छोटे भाई का एडमिशन लेने गए तो उनमें जगह नहीं था, तो इंग्लिश में एडमिशन लेके आ गए।
तो फिर क्या
फिर
हुआ?
जो मेरा बड़ा भाई था वो 2nd स्टैंडर्ड में था, तो वो पढ़ने में बहुत होशियार था, हमेशा फर्स्ट रैंक आता था। तो मेरी माँ ने बोला कि 2 भाई में लड़ाई होगी कि इसको इंग्लिश में डाला, मुझे गुजराती में डाला। तो उसको 2nd स्टैंडर्ड से उठा के डायरेक्ट 1st स्टैंडर्ड में इंग्लिश में एडमिशन लिया।
When it was time for my youngest brother to start school, my father went to apply for his enrollment as usual in our Gujarati school along with the 3 of us. But at that time, there wasn't any space in the school to accept him. So my father decided to get him admitted in an English-speaking school, since our Gujarati school refused to take him in. Now, at this time, my other brother, who was already in school with me, was in the 2nd grade. He was really smart and always ranked first in class in all his class tests. My mom then said that if we were to put the younger son in English school and the elder son in Gujarati school, they will end up fighting. So with this in mind, they withdrew my brother from the 2nd grade from my school and got him into the 1st grade with my youngest brother in the English school. Nena's parents obviously cared for all their children. They did make sure they all went to school, but a son's current and future requirements were always placed before the daughters. So when the option to admit their children into an English-speaking school came up, the boys were given preference. They needed to make sure that both the sons were equally equipped to deal with the world, and both sons were on the same level playing field. I asked my mother-in-law, how come her mother didn't think that you girls would be upset about being left behind in the Gujarati school while her brothers were in the English school? She explained that in those days, no one thought much about the daughter's education needs. To her parents, and by extension society, learning English wasn't required at all for girls. Simply having the ability to read and write in Gujarati would suffice. Furthermore, by the time this decision was taken for her brothers, she herself was already in grade 4 or 5, so changing her education now wouldn't help. Being a daughter and having the responsibility to set an example to her younger siblings, Nena was forced to stay silent and accept the place she was given. But, fired with the indignation on the hand she was dealt, Nena always voiced her opinions and feelings about being treated differently from her two brothers. They were surrounded by people who underestimated the importance of educating girls. With the social fear drilled into her parents of daughters in the family going astray from values and traditions, Nena's wishes to learn English along with her brothers was discouraged, and her passion to move ahead in life was snubbed.
जब मेरा भाई इंग्लिश में पढ़ता था तो उसको भी रीडिंग करने का बहुत शौक था और मुझे भी रीडिंग करने का बहुत शौक था। तो मेरा भाई सब बुक्स लेके आता था, स्टोरी बुक्स वगैरह, तो देख के मुझे बहुत गिल्टी फील हो रहा था कि ये तो हमारे कीड़े मकोड़े समान है ये बुक तो हमारे लिए, क्योंकि हम पढ़ तो नहीं सकते हैं। यही सोच से मुझे बहुत तकलीफ हो रहा था।
When my brothers were studying, they loved to read. I loved to read too. So when my brother used to bring his storybooks home, I used to feel so guilty or miserable that I cannot read a single word of those storybooks because it was in English. I used to feel like this was a small torment to me because I loved to read so much and I couldn't read a single word. So thinking about this all the time, it troubled me a lot. I asked her if she ever voiced her feelings to her parents about not being given the same level of education as her brother and not being able to read and study English with him.
ये बात घर में कभी कभी बोल दिया था कि मैं नहीं पढ़ सकती है, मैं इतनी दुख मतलब बहुत सैड हूँ कि आप नहीं पढ़ सकते, घर में बता रही थी आप?
हाँ, मैं मेरी मम्मी को बता रही थी कि बहुत दुख हो रहा है, मम्मी देख तूने हमको क्यों इंग्लिश में नहीं डाला, हमें बहुत गिल्टी फील हो रहा है, मैं नहीं पढ़ सकती है और क्या कर सकते हैं। लेकिन मैं गुजराती बुक बहुत ला के पढ़ती थी, मुझे पढ़ने का तो इतना शौक था कि कुछ भी दो लेकिन पढ़ने का दो, इतना शौक है पढ़ने का अभी भी।
I used to cry to my mom all the time. Why didn't you put us in an English school as well? I couldn't read a single word of these books and I feel so terrible. So to pacify me, my parents used to bring me all the Gujarati books that they could. I love reading it so much, even to this day. I still demand for something or the other to read when I'm at home. But as always, life moves on, and so did Nena's. At the young age of 22, she was married via arranged marriage to Raju, a man she had never met, from a respectable family in the big city of Mumbai.
मेरी शादी 22 साल की उम्र में हुई, तब तक मैं घर काम के लिए सीरियस नहीं थी, क्योंकि माँ बाप का भी प्रेशर नहीं दिया कि तुम्हें करना है, तुम्हें शादी करके दूसरे घर जाना है। हमेशा मेरे डैडी ऐसे बोलते, ससुराल जाएगी तो सीख जाएगी, टॉर्चर मत करो।
I was 22 years old when I got married, but until then I had never taken any interest in learning to run a household. My parents never forced me to take on too many responsibilities in the house or pester me by saying that I need to learn all this for when I get married and leave the house. My father would always say that when I get married and move to my in-laws' house, I would learn everything in that time. So there's no need to torture me now with responsibilities. Her new husband, Raju, was the eldest son in his family of 6 siblings. He, like his father, had taken on the family business of being a goldsmith by trading and working with gold. So Nena was now thrust into this new world of being a wife, daughter-in-law, and eldest sister-in-law to Raju's 5 younger siblings, some of whom were children themselves. Life was going to get tougher than she could ever have imagined. She may not have known it then, but Raju would end up being the only person that ever supported her in her decisions within the family.
बहुत बड़ी फैमिली थी। मेरे हस्बैंड के 5 भाई थे, मैं सबसे बड़ी थी। एक बहन थी, सास थी, घर में 10-12 आदमी थे। शादी करके गई तो बहुत बड़ी जिम्मेदारी आ गई ऊपर मेरे।
When I got married, my husband's family was very big. He had 4 younger brothers and 1 younger sister, as well as his mother and father living in the home with us. He was the eldest, and so I was now the eldest daughter-in-law. As his brothers all grew older and got married, the number of people in the house reached 12, including the young children. I suddenly had a lot of responsibility on my shoulders. Now maybe I should stop here and clarify a little on the type of family dynamic that Nena was going into after getting married. In those days, and still today in most cases in India, when a girl gets married, she is expected to leave the house where she grew up and live with her husband and in-laws. While when a boy gets married, he never has to leave home. He gets married and brings his wife to live with him and his parents, eventually taking over the responsibility of earning and running the house. So, the more number of sons in a family, the more number of people or wives are now brought into the family through marriage and live together in what is widely known as a joint family. This may not seem important now, but we will later understand how living in this dynamic makes everything more complicated. So now, Naina's role went from being a daughter who could do whatever she wanted to being a wife, daughter-in-law, eldest sister-in-law, and caretaker for her in-laws and the young children in the family. Understandably, this was quite a dramatic change for her.
घर में बहुत काम था, सबका खाना बनाना, सब काम हाथ से था। बहुत हार्ड लगता था, लेकिन धीरे 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 धीरे
तो वॉशिंग मशीन
कुछ नहीं था तभी।
डिश वॉशर
उस टाइम तो कहाँ था, कुछ नहीं था, सब काम हाथ से। 4 भाई टिफिन लेके जाते थे, सुबह में 10 बजे 25 रोटी बना के टिफिन रेडी रखना चाहिए। छोटे छोटे बच्चे, बहुत जिंदगी में स्ट्रगल किया।
और कपड़ा को धोने के लिए क्या क्या,
कपड़ा धोने के लिए इतना आदमी था तो रोज का 5 बाल्टी कपड़ा होता था, तो काम वाली 2 बाल्टी धो के जाती थी, 3 बाल्टी मुझे धोना पड़ता था
हाथ से,
क्योंकि काम वाली कोई नहीं टिकती थी। 5 बाल्टी कपड़ा दे गए तो सब भाग जाते थे।
There was a lot of hard work at home now. I had to learn to cook food for everyone. I had to do all the housework by hand. It was very hard in those days. We didn't have any electronics in those days. I had to keep everyone's tiffin ready in the morning by making 25 rotis, handmade flatbreads, every morning by 10 a.m. and get the younger ones ready for school and then cook lunch and snacks and dinner. We had no electrical appliances at home, so we did everything by hand. Every day we would accumulate 5 buckets of clothes that needed to be washed by hand. We had a lady who would come and help us with the household cleaning, but she would only wash 2 buckets and I would have to wash the rest myself by hand. We had so much work at home that even if we hired help to wash 5 buckets, they would all run away from the house and only do half the work and then leave, because there was just so much work that had to be done. Over time and through several family trials, Raju and Naina's own little family grew. They were blessed with 4 healthy children over a span of 8 years, 3 girls and 1 boy. The family business grew in wealth and prosperity, and everything seemed to be getting substantially easier. But at a time when society's expectations dictated a woman's life choices, Naina now had a new choice and challenge to face: educating her children.
एक तो मेरे दिल के अंदर गिल्टी था कि मुझे इंग्लिश नहीं आ रहा है, इंग्लिश नहीं आ रहा है। फिर पहले मेरी बेटी हो गई, मेरी 3 बेटी पहले, लास्ट में मेरा बेटा है। तो मेरी बेटी हो गई तो उसका एडमिशन का टाइम आया, तो मैं यही सोचती थी कि आज मेरे घर में लाइट बिल आता है तो इंग्लिश में आता है, कुछ भी मेंटेनेंस बिल आता है तो इंग्लिश में आता है। तो मुझे ट्रांसलेशन नहीं आता है इतना, तो मुझे किसी के पास दिखाने जाना पड़ता है कि देखो तो क्या लिखा है, जरा पढ़ के बताओ तो क्या लिखा है। तो वही चीज से मुझे बहुत गिल्टी फील हो रहा था।
There was always this perpetual guilt, or we can say regret, in my heart that I don't know how to read English. Then my first daughter was born. After that, I had 2 more daughters, and my last child is a son. Then, when it was time to take them to school to enroll them for my daughter, I would always think, when something as simple as the electricity bill or maintenance bill would arrive in my home, it was in English, and I would have to take our bill to someone else, maybe my neighbor or a family friend, just to translate it and read it to me and understand what was written on it. And this used to make me feel very bad.
फिर मेरी बेटी को जब एडमिशन का टाइम आया तो मेरे एक ही बात थी मेरे दिल के अंदर कि मेरी बेटी जाएगी तो इंग्लिश मीडियम में ही जाएगी, गुजराती में नहीं जाएगी। उस टाइम उसका एडमिशन के लिए भी, डोनेशन देने के लिए भी मेरे पास पैसा नहीं था, लेकिन मेरी एक मेरी बाजू बहुत स्ट्रांग थी, वो था मेरा हस्बैंड।
So when it was time for my first daughter to be enrolled in school, I was determined in my heart to have her enrolled in an English-speaking school and not a Gujarati school. In those days, to enroll your child in school, you needed to give a donation to the school as a price for enrollment. I didn't even have that money with us, but the one person who was a strong support for me at that time was my husband.
घर में पैसा नहीं था, जॉइंट फैमिली था, सब स्ट्रगल था, लेकिन मेरे हस्बैंड मेरी सपोर्ट पूरा था कि कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, कहीं से भी उधार लेके भी बेटी को इंग्लिश में डाला। डोनेशन का पैसा नहीं था तो उधार लेके बेटी को इंग्लिश में डाला, धीरे धीरे पैसा दे दिया। लेकिन आज मेरी बेटी कहाँ है, उसके सामने वो कुछ नहीं है जो डोनेशन का पैसा डाला वो।
We had a lot of struggles at that time. We didn't have money. We were a joint family. It was very difficult. But my husband's support for my decision was always there. He said, "No problem. We will take a loan if we have to make a donation and make sure that she goes to an English school." So we paid it back slowly over time. And looking back now, where my daughters are today, that donation money was nothing compared to them today. Imagine this. Your kids went to school and they studied. They chose their line of education. An action we all take for granted today with our kids. You would think that the choice of where your children went to kindergarten or grade 1, grade 2 and so on is yours and yours alone, right? Well, not for Naina. When she decided to enroll her children in an English-speaking school, you wouldn't believe the places and people from where all the bullying, scorn, criticism, and endless discouragement came.
फिर सब आड़ोसी, आजू बाजू वाले और रिलेटिव सब घर पे आके मेरी सास को बोल के जाते थे कि क्यों बच्ची को इंग्लिश में डाला, तुमको जॉब करने भेजना है, पैसा नहीं है तो भी क्यों बच्ची को इंग्लिश में डाला। हर जगह से टॉर्चर हो रहा था, घर में बहुत झगड़ा हो रहा था, 1 महीना तक सब चला।
Soon, slowly, the family members, neighbors, and distant relatives, everyone we knew, would come home or call home and speak to my mother in law and tell her that why did you put your young girls in English school? Do you expect her to go and get a job? As opposed to being a homemaker and take care of the family. Even when you don't have money, why do you want to enroll her in an English school? We were tortured about this from every angle and everyone we knew. There were regular fights within the family about this because they would tell my mother in law and we would fight at home. For a full month, this crazy drama went on at home. I asked her that when everyone went with this reprimand to her mother in law, would she never support you? Would she instead choose to side with the naysayers and fight with you?
जब ये लोग आपकी सास के साथ बात कर रही थी तो वो आपके साथ झगड़ा कर रही थी, वो आपको सपोर्ट नहीं करती थी?
नहीं, सपोर्ट नहीं करती थी। तभी मैं भी बोलती थी कि तुम लोग कौन बोलने वाले हो, तो तुम लोग तुम्हारा खुद का बिल भी बाजू में बताने को जाते हो। तो मेरी बेटी को जॉब करना है नहीं करना है वो मुझे नहीं मालूम है, लेकिन खुद का किसी के पास नहीं जाना है कि ये पढ़ के दो ना जरा।
No, she would never support me. She would fight with me. Then I used to fight back and say, who are you to come and tell me where my daughter studies? You yourselves need to take your house bills to your neighbors and read for you. So whether my daughter takes up a job or not is not my concern now. But at least I know she will never need to beg someone else or rely on someone else for a simple thing like reading her house bills. Finally, the worst of it happened when her second daughter, Rashmi, began showing bizarre signs of stress that were affecting her health and stability at the tender age of 11 years old.
पहली बेटी को इंग्लिश में डाला तो घर में बहुत सारा तूफान आया, लेकिन फिर मुझे दूसरी भी बेटी हो गई तो फिर उस टाइम कोई तकलीफ नहीं हुआ, क्योंकि एक दफे फाइट कर लिया तो फिनिश हो गया है। पहली इंग्लिश में पढ़ती तो अभी दूसरी भी जाएगी ने।
So, after my first daughter Reena went to English school, there was this big storm in the house. And then when my second daughter Rashmi had to go to school, no one raised it again. This matter was closed now. Everyone fought with us and everyone lost. They knew that we wouldn't listen to anyone and we would end up keeping our daughters in an English school. I asked my mother-in-law what happened specifically to Rashmi after she started studying in English as well.
तो मम्मी अभी बताओ कि जब रश्मि 11 इयर्स थी तो क्या हो गई उसके साथ?
उसको स्ट्रेस की वजह से वो बेहोश हो जाती थी, एक एक घंटा बेहोशी में रहती थी। फिर सब कितने डॉक्टर को दिखाया 21 दिन तक ट्रीटमेंट किया, तब आईक्यू टेस्ट निकाला तो डॉक्टर बोलता है कि आप लोग गुजराती है, घर का माहौल गुजराती है, तो इंग्लिश में पढ़ाते हो तो उसको स्ट्रेस बढ़ जाता है, इसलिए हो रहा है।
Rashmi became very ill because of stress. We were told that due to stress, she was fainting regularly and she sometimes used to stay unconscious for over an hour. So we took her to see so many doctors at that time. She went on so many treatments, 21-day treatments, IQ tests, everything. That's finally when even the doctors came back and told us that all of you speak Gujarati in the family and at home, and she's studying in English in school. So this is the reason that she can't handle the stress and she's fainting. The solution is to remove her from the English school and put her in Gujarati school. We all turn to doctors for expert advice when we are the most helpless and desperate to be saved. That was the point Naina had reached to try to figure out what was wrong with her daughter. But even the doctors in the community were now saying the same thing, and Naina felt like everyone she interacted with, known or unknown, seemed to try to break her resolve to educate her girls in English. After all this pressure, did she finally break?
मैं बोला नहीं, वो कभी नहीं होएगा। मेरी बेटी को मैं प्रेशर नहीं देगी बिल्कुल। फेल होएगी वही ने, हर साल फेल होएगी, मुझे चलेगा। 15 साल के बाद में उसको स्कूल से निकाल देगी और दूसरा बहुत सारा कोर्स है, स्टडी दूसरा कुछ कराएगी, लेकिन इंग्लिश में से निकाल के गुजराती में नहीं डालेगी।
I said no. This will never happen. If this ailment is because of stress, I will not put any undue pressure on her to get top ranks in class or anything like that. At most, what will happen? She will fail every year. That's not a problem for me. If she can at least manage to stay in school till she's 15 years old, then I will remove her from school and she can learn any other course or trade that will help her survive. But at least she will learn how to speak, read, and write in English for herself if she stays in an English school.
मेरी बेटी की तो 1 महीने में बीमारी ठीक हो गई, लेकिन उसके बाद 1 साल वो फेल हो गई। वो साल के बाद वो हर साल, एक 4th स्टैंडर्ड में थी उसमें फेल हो गई, फिर 5th स्टैंडर्ड से हर साल मेरी बेटी 2nd रैंक लाती थी।
1 month later, she seemed to be cured of whatever this stress-related problem was. But because of all this happening throughout the year, she did fail and was held back for 1 year in the 4th grade. But then, from that year on, every single year till she finished school, she began to excel better and always ranking 2nd. Today, Naina's 3 daughters are just as strong as her son. Because of her steadfastness and sacrifice in the face of all that discouragement over 3 decades ago, they are strong, educated, and independent women who are able to stand shoulder to shoulder with their husbands at home and male colleagues at work.
आज मैंने ये डिसीजन लिया, बच्चे को इंग्लिश में पढ़ाया, तो आज मेरे सब बच्चे सब आगे हैं। मेरी बेटी जो रश्मि बीमार थी वो सीए थी, तीसरी बेटी तेजल है वो एमबीए है, वो भी बहुत अच्छी पोस्ट पर है, बड़ी वाली बेटी भी अच्छी जॉब कर रही है, मेरा बेटा भी पढ़ के आगे, रश्मि जो 3 बच्चे मेरे कनाडा में है, सब बच्चे मेरे आगे। मुझे बहुत खुशी है मेरे बच्चे को देख के। और मुझे अभी तो इंग्लिश नहीं आ रहा है, तो मेरे बेटे की बेटी 4 साल की है, वो मुझे सिखाती है, ग्रैंडमा ऐसे बोलना चाहिए, ग्रैंडमा ऐसे बोलना चाहिए। ये मेरी लाइफ की सबसे बड़ी खुशी है।
Thinking back, I am so proud of the decision I made for my daughters to study English. My daughter Rashmi, who was sick with stress, today she's a chartered accountant. My daughter Tejal is an MBA holder and has a very good job, and my eldest daughter also has a great job and she can support her family by herself. My son is also very successful in his career. 3 of my children are now well settled in Canada. All my children have gone further than I could have gone myself, and I'm so happy now seeing the success of all my children. Today, I still don't know English, but my son's 4-year-old daughter will try to teach me what to say by saying, "Grandma, this is how you say this," or "Grandma, this is how you say that." This is one of my greatest joys in life now. At a time when women were expected to bend and break under society's pressure every single day, Naina made herself bulletproof, and today all her children have reaped the benefits.
खुद का निर्णय खुद करो। मैं सबको यही बोलती है कि किसी की मत सुनो, तुम्हारे अंदर की सुनो। एक औरत का बराबर डिसीजन है तो पूरी फैमिली आगे हो सकती है। एक औरत का डिसीजन बराबर नहीं है तो पूरा फैमिली पीछे चला जाता है। आज मेरा एक सही डिसीजन है तो हमारे 5 भाइयों के फैमिली के सबके बच्चे आगे हैं और सब लाइफ एंजॉय करके जी रहे, देख के हमें खुशी मिलती है।
Your life, your decisions. Listen to your heart. Don't listen to others who want to bring you down. If a woman makes the right decision, then the entire family will take a leap forward. If the woman's decision isn't right, then the entire family can face the consequences. Because of my decision on education back then, all the children born in our family went to an English school, and all of them are ahead in life as well. Seeing everyone enjoy the life they are living is the best and happiest reward for me today. I finally asked her, what does being bulletproof mean to her?
बुलेट प्रूफ वुमेन को आपको क्या समझते हैं मम्मी?
स्ट्रॉन्ग डिसीजन, जो भी डिसीजन लो स्ट्रॉन्ग बन के लो, बस वही है। एक ही डिसीजन सबका लाइफ बदल देता है तुम्हारा।
Be strong and make strong decisions in life. That's what being bulletproof means to me. I'd like to thank my wonderful mother-in-law for taking the time and effort to share this amazing life experience on something we all take for granted. I'd also like to thank my family for taking the time to help me accurately translate this episode. If you have any questions for Naina, you can email them to bulletproofwomenpodcast@gmail.com. Take care, everyone. Stay strong, stay safe, and remember, you are bulletproof too.